Hey everybody, Spencer here, doing something a little bit different than we usually do. So normally when I come on here, we talk games, right? We talk about how great games are and how much we love playing them, and I review them and I tell you why they're good or why they're bad, and usually why they're good because I tend not to buy bad games apparently. But today I'm coming to you guys for something a little different. So I have started a GoFundMe page. It's a long story, trust me. And if you want all the juicy details, they're all on the page. But to make a long story short, back in 2008, 2009, sometime around that, around that period, I woke up one morning and was paralyzed from the neck down, which you'd probably never guess considering how much I move around in these videos. I'm fine now though, but I had a really terrifying experience. I was super fortunate that my parents were at the house at that time that they were home. We were able to get me to a hospital. We were able to, get me to the doctors, in a pretty quick and timely manner. But by the next day, when they finally let me out of the hospital, I still had no answers. And they ran every single test they could think of, trust me. I got a CAT scan, I got an MRI, an ultrasound, which, by the way, now that I've had one of those, I really feel for all you ladies who have to get those. Ultrasounds suck. That goo is cold. So they did everything. I mean, even with my dad's insurance at the time that I was on, thankfully, it still ended up being about $8,000 from what I remember in medical bills. And that's after insurance covered a bunch of it. So at the end of the day, I still, I walked out of the hospital with a bunch of doctors and people who went to medical school for years upon years looking at me going, "Duh." Fast forward many years later, I'm now living in Utah, and I meet my wife, and I'm having a couple little flare-ups. And I'd had them for years. I mean, just every now and then, wake up and you'd have to wait 20 minutes for the legs to really start working. They wouldn't function properly, couldn't support weight. Occasionally they, one leg would just go dead on me. I'd have moments where I couldn't really move my hands. I'd be like, eh. And we decide, maybe it's time I go to a doctor. Maybe it's time to try and figure out what's going on, because it had been happening frequently enough that it had become a problem again. Nothing as major as the first incident, mind, but still not a fun time. So I get health insurance through the Affordable Care Act. I go through that website, which takes me to my state, who recommended insurance company for me. Suffice to say, I went to a neurologist because there was a chance that it was one of two things. So the two leading contenders for what happened to me were Guillain-Barré syndrome, which is a neurological disorder, and also MS, or multiple sclerosis. Again, a neurological thing that can screw with your muscles and your nerves and really do you some damage. So I go to this neurologist and I get all these tests. I mean, I got an EEG, which also really sucks, along with a couple other tests, some more MRIs and stuff like that. And my health insurance, whom I had discussed this with before even signing up with them, decided they weren't going to cover it. It was a pre-existing condition, which I was under the impression that wasn't a problem anymore because of the ACA. Well, it turns out that if it's a short-term medical policy, i.e. 6 months or less, they don't have to abide by that rule. Now, when I say I explain this to them, I mean I asked the person on the phone specifically if I would be covered for this very thing. And they said, yeah, you'll be covered, you'll be fine. So I get all these bills and try calling my health insurance. Weeks on weeks on weeks. and couldn't get a hold of them. They would either just straight up not answer the phones, and it would just keep ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing. I was on a call with them for 27 minutes one day, where it just rang and rang and rang for 27 minutes, for damn near a half hour. Other times they would just disconnect the line on me, which was even better. And finally, after weeks of calling, I got a hold of somebody and I asked them what was going on. And they said, oh, well, we're not going to cover that. And I said, well, you guys told me you would. And they said, sorry, we're not doing that. And I said, all right, screw it. I'll find a way. I'll deal with it. So I've exhausted all my resources at this point. It's been a while. I mean, it's been at least a couple of years. I mean, all this went down before I even got married. And now, you know, we're working on, we're footing the bills, but it's hard going. I've gone through everything. I even took it to my state insurance commissioner to try and see if we could pull the phone call and say, okay, who's the idiot who told me that I'd be covered for this, and then I wasn't covered for it? With, unfortunately, no luck. I've done everything. I've tried everything I can. I'm paying every month to try and cut some of this down. And that's where the GoFundMe comes in. We being my wife and I, decided that this was a problem. Not just because it was costing us money every month, not just because we got screwed over and lied to by some faceless mega corporation, not just because, once again, due to no regulations in this damn country, a health insurance company was free to screw me over with no repercussions, but because we're trying to find a new place to live. Right now, we are living in her aunt's basement. She's very gracious to let us live here. And, you know, we're not complaining that we have a place to live, but we want to get out on our own. You know, we want to get a new apartment. And because I have all this debt, it is nigh impossible. Places are turning us down because, oh, well, it went to collections. Well, of course it went to collections. When all this happened, I was making $8.50 an hour. Even at my current pay rate, I can't pay off this debt that fast. So yes, it went to collections, and you know, I'm trying everything in my power to get it paid. But we decided we would reach out to our friends and our family and our colleagues and to people, because not just because we need the money, not just because we want to get out of here, not just because we want a place of our own, but because this story has to be told. And I talked to Ben, Zach, and Jeremy about this, and they all gave the okay for me to do this. You know, we discussed it and said, you know what, this would be a good thing to do. You know, go ahead, put up a video and all that. So, now obviously, if you guys, through comments or likes and dislikes, decide that this is not cool or wildly unethical of us, or of me, rather, you know, then I will take this video down. Obviously, I'm not going to. I don't want to do anything that's going to piss you guys off. We admire you guys as our fans. We're really grateful to you as our fans. But we thought, you know, this is a good way to get the word out there. You know, I can post on my Facebook page all I want, but at the end of the day, there's only so many people I'm friends with on Facebook. The other important thing to keep in mind is, if you guys can donate, I want you to be aware of a very important thing. Every penny from this GoFundMe that we get, obviously after, you know, paying taxes and fees and all that crap, every single penny that we earn on this is going to those medical debts. None of that is going to go to helping us buy stuff. You know, I'm not going to buy, you know, a new camera. I'm not going to buy a new computer with it. I'm not going to buy gaming stuff with it. None of that. All of it is going to taking care of this debt. If you guys can't donate or you don't want to donate, I get it. At the very least, if you can, if it's something you feel comfortable doing, I would be insanely grateful if you even just told a couple of people. If you spread the word a little bit. You know, I'm not expecting to make you know, $14,000 in, 2 days or anything. I've had this up for over a month, and we've made about $1,000 on it. Yeah, if you guys can donate, great. If you can just spread the word, great. Again, if you guys think this video is insanely unethical of us, and and you feel like we're doing something really wrong, or we're trying to take advantage of you guys, let us know. Post comments, hit that dislike button, send us messages on Facebook, whatever you need to do, and I will take it down. I'll make it right by you. But at the very least, I thought I could throw this up here and get the word out, because that's the most important thing at this point, is getting the word out. And if that results in helping cut some of this debt, that results in cutting down some of it, great. If all it does is open people's minds and eyes to what's going on in our country, that's great too. So guys, I want to thank you for bearing with me through this and listening to my ramblings. So once again, I'm insanely grateful to you guys for being fans and for giving us a reason to keep doing the channel here. We have a great amount of fun doing it. I know we're not as consistent as we'd like to be, but so yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for everything you've already done. And I'll be back with some actual content in the very near future. I got a couple of things I got to work on. It's just been really, really busy with work lately. So I will see you guys around.